I really like analogies, so I want you to imagine that you are given a gift. You're told the gift is going to be to a surprise vacation location, but you're not sure where it's going to be. You're just imagining blue seas and powder white sands. You are so excited because this gift is from somebody that loves you dearly, and you just cannot wait to find out what this vacation location is going to be. However, when you arrive at your destination, you are in dismay to find out that you are actually behind enemy lines in the midst of an active war. How would you feel? Would you have questions about the friend that sent you there? Would you feel hurt, betrayed, confused, trapped, unprepared? How different would that scenario be if you were actually an active member of the military and you knew that the plane ticket was actually to a battlefield and you knew that there was a chance that you could lose your life, but you knew that going into this situation was a part of a greater plan, and in fact, you saw it as an honor to lay down your life? I'm sure you could see where I'm going with this. Most of the people that I talk to, at least, really believes that we're living in the end times. But there's two very different storylines about what's going to happen. The pre-tribulation camp is really excited because they believe that before there's any kind of trouble or warfare, to fit it to the analogy, that we are going to be basically given the equivalent of the most amazing, awesome beach vacation of all eternity forever and ever. Amen. And would that be awesome? Yes. Do I wish that was true? Yes. Meanwhile, there's another camp of Christians that realize that we're actually headed to war. And if not our generation, another generation. It could be our family members, our children's children. We just know that it's coming. And we actually want to help people to be prepared and ready for what's to come. When reading the New Testament about the end times, one thing that I notice over and over again is there is a charge, do not be deceived. It's in 2 Thessalonians 2. Paul tells the church, whether it is a letter or an angel or a dream or a vision, if somebody comes and tells you that the rapture is going to happen before the Antichrist is revealed, before the great falling away, that they are wrong. Jesus warns us in Matthew 24 that there's going to be false prophets and false messiahs. Throughout Paul's epistles, we're told that in the end times there's going to be doctrines of demons, that people are going to seek for themselves teachers that fit their itching ears. And the sad and scary part is that it will be a salvation issue at that point because many people are going to fall away. It's such a big deal that it has its own name, the great apostasy or the great falling away. It's a big deal. And this too will happen before Jesus returns. My question is why? We know that a strong delusion will be sent to those that don't love the truth. Could it be thousands, millions of people that were fed false teachings, false doctrines, and false promises? Will it happen because many people signed up for Christianity for false reasons? The truth is, our picture of God can really be affected by our prophecy beliefs, especially for the final generation. If pre-trib teachers are wrong, then how many people will be confused, disillusioned, and hopeless? How many people will just flat out give up on their faith? Within many of the pre-trib teachers that I've listened to, there's kind of disturbing messages that sounds like, oh, Jesus wouldn't beat his bride before the wedding, meaning that Christians that go through persecution are martyred, and martyrdom are basically the equivalent of a beaten bride. I've heard people say things like, if the rapture is not pre-tribulation, then we don't really have a blessed hope, just a hope of a guillotine. In comments all the time, people say statements like, why would God abandon us? Why would he leave his beloved to another man to be beaten for 7 years? I mean, the comments and the analogies are endless. It's the same belief underneath it. It's the belief that a God who would allow his church to face tribulation in the form of martyrdom and persecution, they're essentially saying that that's a God that doesn't love his people. Now, as I've said millions of times, definitely exaggeration, but Christians are not appointed to wrath. So we are not expected to get stung by demonic locusts or anything of that nature. But we are promised persecution. It says it over and over again. So back to my earlier analogy, I really fear that the church is giving out a message that's saying you're going on vacation, get ready, get excited, when there should be a different message that is preparing us to endure before the return of the Lord. I believe that we actually are expected to understand who the Antichrist is in terms of what Bible prophecy says. And why? Because Jesus himself, along with John and Paul and other writers, actually gave us warnings. They gave us instructions. I'm just reminded of one of the stories in the Gospels where Jesus basically tells the people that they are only coming to him because they really thought it was cool that he provided food for them. They weren't terribly interested in who he was as the Messiah, maybe a little, insofar as they expected him to do something great and mighty and to deliver them from oppression. And my sincere fear is that pre-trib pastors unwittingly are doing that in many of their gospel presentations. I've heard it dozens, if not hundreds of times. Basically the message that, oh, you want to get saved now so that you don't have to go through the tribulation. So what happens when that batch of Christians ends up in the Great Tribulation? That's why many of us on here think it's such a big deal to keep talking about it. We know it's not as popular as the eternal beach vacation message, and it's not that we don't believe that there's going to be eternal bliss, but first, there's that analogy of birth pains, delivery, and then the beautiful gifts. God bless you.